So, so this is what it looks like to be a Christian in the workplace, being attacked by an occult demon from a man who is in the service, and who has these tattoos on him. So it was revealed to me. It's kind of like astral projection. Like, I've never experienced anything like it until I started working here. And one day I was out at work here, and this thought, it was just popped up into my head, and I looked at him and I said, "Is he gay?" In my head, I said that, but I didn't voice it out. And then, strangely, that night, I had a dream, and it was like he astral projected into my dream. It was his image walking towards me, turned to me and says, "I'm not gay." And then when he pulled away, my neck spasmed. And then I had other dreams of where, I was in the workplace. There was nobody else around, and in the mechanic shop, he walks in with a spirit guide demon. It looks human, larger in frame, taller, and eyes are not of this world. And he sat down, and his demon sat down on this rolling cart that had stools on one side, and then I stood on the other side. And then he said a message. He said, "There's only 3," and then his demon guide pushed the cart into me, and I woke up out of the dream. So I'm having these strange experiences, and it all began with him. And this is what I realized, like I said in my previous video. So it's a demon that's from him, a spirit guide demon that follows him around, and it works through him, causing him to, basically working through him so that he can compel people nearby to participate in the occult witchcraft by suggesting or trying to get them to drink the liquid death, which is so easy for witches to get people to participate in occult witchcraft, because now there's this drink, liquid death, and it is participating in the occult witchcraft. And so what happens is his demon gets him to cause them to drink that drink, and because they come into agreement with the things of liquid death, the occult, even though I think it's just canned water or something, regardless, because they come into agreement of the things about liquid death, that then gives his demon the rights so that the demon can use them to attack believers in the workplace. And this is how the devil does things in the workplace, how the devil attacks Christians in the workplace. And so here I am in my department. 2 of the people that I work with drink the drink liquid death from him. And those 2, ever since, have been acting very strange and being compelled, and that I can see with discernment of spirits that they are operating by his demon. And I've been having these attacks practically every day. And it's trying to cause me to lose focus. It's trying to mess me up at work, and vice versa. And so I've been praying against it, and I've been reading this book here. Let me get this book out. I've been reading this book here. It's by Mark Ross Shields, Unmasked. And I'm nearly done. I'm on page 250. And he's a ministry that works. he lives on Easter Island. And it's what's really interesting is that some of the things that he's experienced is what I've experienced. So, so while reading this, a few things have happened to where it's interesting because I have a calendar, a paper calendar, stand up that's next to my computer, and it says you had one job, and then it's full of like all these, different days have different scenarios where people mess up the job, but it's like kind of like a comedy kind of thing. So I ripped off, every day I would rip off the top page to go to the next day. And then the back of it has trivia, puzzles, coloring, whatever. And then I started noticing, like, oh, Easter Island. I had a fact about Easter Island. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then, weirdly enough, not too long after, my computer screen, went to the screensaver or picture of the Easter Island, Maui or something, whatever it's called. I'm like, that's interesting, But anyways, this seems to be a very good book. He explains spiritual warfare very well. And I would suggest that, if you're going through things, it talks about making agreements, coming into agreement, coming out of agreements, praying against altars, demonic altars, and talks about cursed gifts that witches try to give Christians, how witches will portray themselves as, obviously not evil. They're going to try to portray themselves as good, someone good. They try to infiltrate the church. And then he talks about also, be careful, do not come against territorial spirits, because that's not our jurisdiction. We can come against, against people and evil spirits here on earth, but we cannot come against the spiritual realm where the territorial spirits are, because that's very devastating. And I've heard this not only from him, but also from other people, that if you pray and come against territorial spirits, you will pay. And suddenly, like, something drastic will happen, because you're going out of your jurisdiction. You have to stay within your own boundaries that you're allowed to have. And so Jesus never told us to come against territorial spirits, as we are humans on this earth. So things can fall. Like for him, he did come against territorial spirits at one point in time, and then I think he or his son suddenly came down with this drastic sickness. He had to go to the ER or hospital or something. And then he prayed, and then God revealed to him, like, you went out of your boundaries. You went out of your jurisdiction. And then the moment that he repented of it, because he didn't know, then he immediately got better. And so he talks about these legal rights, these rules, these things that a lot of people don't know and don't talk about. So, I've been reading that. But today, because the other day, I made a video talking about what happened, how I see now that the woman co-worker in service, after she drank the liquid death, wearing a cross, supposed to be Christian, I guess. Maybe she's wearing a cross for like fashion. But ever since, I've noticed her acting different towards me. She seems fine other than that, but then when she has to talk to me, she's got to bang and tap on the counter. And what happened then, after she started doing that, then the man in service, who was the witch, who has the tattoos, sneezed, and then I was right near the window, and then something hit my head, and then the water appeared in my ear. And I realized that there's something that's trying to go from my ear up my nose or my mouth or something. And so, like in other videos, I explained that I would do this, and I would hear something sound off to my ear, like hit the eardrum. And it's not there now because today what I realized is that I would drink water. It seems like when I drink water, it would kind of help it go away or something. So I drank water. I would do this. Hear it sound off. And then a wetness. There was like a wetness there. So I dried up the wetness. I got it to go away. But I'm having trouble keeping it away because my other coworker, my male coworker who also drunk the liquid death, keeps propping his leg up on the counter for strange reason, like he's like that's how the devil's being using him. Something about like, because what I realize is that like when I'm hit with some muscle spasm anywhere, there's a tension, and I think that's happening to him, his leg. So I think something hits his leg when it comes off me. I'm trying to keep it off so it hits him, and I think he props his leg up, and then it leaves and then tries to come back constantly. And so now it's not, I got it to leave my ear, but then suddenly it felt like, it's not too bad right now, but it felt like there's something stuck in my right eye. And then my eyes, like I guess I can still feel it. But then suddenly, mysteriously, my eyes went from fine and normal to watering. And then I've been having other muscle spasms, other places that try to go to certain parts of my body. So the thing is, I know that I'm not the only one, and I'm making this video. I'm not the only one going through this, and I'm making this video because help you understand if you're going through the same thing. There are times where I don't get hit with something, but it's coming from my male coworker, and it makes him look in my direction or even stare at my direction as if he's not thinking, but he does it automatically. He'll look and stare in that direction, and then he'll prop his leg up on the counter, and then I hear something hit my computer screen. So what I started doing after that, after I heard that, what would happen is that if I walked away and came back, he'd prop his leg up, put his leg down, and then something would hit me, would hit my body. So, and then I realized it was coming from the computer screen. So it was going from him, computer screen, to me. So when he would let go prop down his leg, I'd shake the screen or tap the screen, and then he then began to cough, and like it kind of went back to him. And and then I didn't have muscle spasms because that's what I would do, and then he would react by clearing his throat or coughing. So it seems to be some kind of connection that attaches to water, and I think it's using from his mouth, which is the reason why he's coughing or clears his throat. That's the reason why there's water. The mouth, there's water. The eyes, ears need water to clean itself out, and so forth. And so there have been times where even so anyways, so that would happen. Then there are times where I notice that when something hits my female coworker's screen, who also was the one claiming to be a Christian, drinking the liquid death drink. And it only takes one time, by the way. And a lot of people, they open up doors to the devil, but they don't close them. And then they forget about what they opened, and they don't close the door because they're not trying to close the doors to the devil. They're not trying to get closer to God, to Jesus. They're not trying to, so, but her screen cracked. Then I noticed after it cracks on her screen, that's when she'll voice out strange things randomly. Not every time, But the one day that it did crack, during the day, I was working, I stood beside her, and then she just randomly blurts out, "Oh, angel numbers." Weird. Really strange. And that's what is also attacking me, or trying to attack me. And it's a occult spirit that causes people to look at the time when it's double or triple numbers. And people have no idea. They think it's like something good, they're trying to have these experiences, and I'm trying to not have these experiences because I know the source, I know it's bad. But there's people who are in the New Age, in the occult, who have these experiences, are trying to have these experiences, and they don't know it's from demons. They don't really know what spirit is actually behind it because they don't have the Holy Spirit to show them. So, and then other times, she one time blurted out, "I'm going to get you from the gates of hell." Just randomly. And not talking to me, just not even facing me, but she just randomly blurts it out. Another time, I was thinking of something that was making me happy, and I was standing next to her, and then I felt something touch my head, and she just randomly turns to me and says, "Happy, happy, happy." And then later that day, she was just looking at her computer, not even looking at me, just randomly blurts out, "I'm gonna make your life miserable." So I've come out of agreement with all those things, because sometimes silence can be agreement as well, when you hear people say things about you or towards you. So if you kind of say nothing, that's also kind of like coming into agreement with it. So you need to be aware of that. So come out of agreement with it. Do not agree with it. Rebuke it when it comes. And so that's all the stuff that you can read in here. You can learn about how, when someone says something to you, you should rebuke it and not be silent, because it can be considered coming into agreement. So you should pray about it, you should rebuke it, you renounce it. Sometimes people say things that they don't even know that it's something else working through them. So you either have people who are deliberately, they know they have a demon, they know they're a witch, they know they're doing evil things, and don't care, and they just keep on doing it. Then you have other people that have a spirit. Sorry, my throat's dry, I guess. And then you have other people who have another spirit that's not of God working through them, and they're not aware of it. So my female coworker in service, what I think's happening is that she is not doing it deliberately. She's just doing it because she feels like doing it. Something is causing her to tap and bang on the counter and start doing that action. Because it's an evil spirit that is working through her now that it got access, because basically when she drank the liquid death from that man in service, that evil spirit from him presented the sin to her, and by her coming into agreement with what the evil spirit presented, now that evil spirit has the access, that specific evil spirit has access to use her. And a lot of people are just ignorant and gullible. A lot of people, like a lot of Christians these days, and I used to be like that. I used to continue in sin and not realize, not really care about what God thought. I used to be that person where I just kept on sinning, and then I realized that, if I keep on sinning, outside of marriage, then Jesus is going to tell me on that day that he never knew you, those who practice iniquity, those who keep practicing sin, making sin a practice. And so because we're getting very close, we are in the end times. The moon is turning to blood, which is a word referred to as rust. How would they know that the moon would rust way back then? And so we need to get our lusts in control. We need to stop doing things outside of marriage. We need to stop going to bars and drinking. We need to stop doing those things that are sin. Stop lying. Stop doing these things, because Jesus is coming back soon. And this right here that I'm dealing with is spiritual warfare right now, because it also causes that coughing thing, mucus, to appear, and causes electronics to crack. So whatever it is trying to silence me. So I've been through this for so long. It's easy to tell. It's easy to tell what it is and where it's coming from. So, and on another note, because I have to go back to work pretty soon. I made a video asking atheists a question: where did all the sand come from in the world? And one person replied, and I responded. Basically, he's saying, well, this is what history books talk about in school. And I was talking about, like, just look at nature. We see the world, and we as humans, we design the world. We create buildings a certain design, and create land a certain way where we can shape the land. We can have grass here, trees there, houses over here. We can design that, and then practically that it's impossible for that much sand to be in one place. Where'd it come from? Maybe I should have asked a different question, but I replied back and said, well, look at us. We're like look how intricate and detailed we are. We are humans. We're symmetrical. We all have eyes. We all have noses. We all have mouths and ears. We all have these things, but how is it that we all out of the whole world, how did none of us have the same fingerprint? And that seems incredible. I also gave an example, like, you can take, like, because if you gotta believe that at least an intelligent creator created something. You can't expect the big bang to, like, explode and then to put everything in its place on canvas and where things need to be designed where it needs to be. And also, for example, why do we have hair when we don't need hair to survive? Where did that intelligent need to have hair form, right? There has to be, because how we are intelligent, we can think and we can design and create and cause things to go where they need to go for certain purposes. And that's the same in this world. Something created this world. And if you make a computer tower, if you're setting up a computer, you're not going to throw the wires in the computer tower and then close it and shake it and then open it back up, and everything is in its place where it needs to be to function perfectly. And think of the human eye. The human eye has so many, like, connections, and our whole body, and you can't think that there is no creator. So on that note, I guess I'm gonna leave it there. Take care, everyone.